At no level of basketball could this ever be a technical foul on Kelsey Mitchell. Oh, Asia Wilson's on the court. That changes everything. So if Asia Wilson fouls you on a layup, you're going to get a technical.
The Las Vegas Aces tried to bully Indiana with elbows, flops, and cheap shots, but the Fever answered with grit, speed, and Kelsey Mitchell's silencing daggers. What looked like intimidation turned into exposure as Indiana flipped Vegas's arrogance back on them, and Mitchell had plenty to say afterward.
This was supposed to be a night all about Asia Wilson's legacy. She made history before the ball even tipped, but the game that followed reminded the Aces how tough this playoff run will be.
The Indiana Fever have pulled off the upset, the 6th seed, beating Vegas 89-73 to take game 1.
What began as Asia Wilson's MVP coronation quickly unraveled into a night where the trophy felt less like a crown and more like the spark of the Aces' downfall.
And Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces lose game 1 on their home court to the Indiana Fever, 89-73. The Indiana Fever were in control of this game from start to finish. There was a small little patch there in the third quarter. We started saying, are the Aces gonna come back? But Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims said, no, they're not going to come back. Not at all.
The media framed Indiana as irrelevant, gutted by injuries and overmatched by Vegas's pedigree and swagger. Even Becky Hammond echoed the script, claiming the Fever hadn't seen the real Aces, as if a blowout was inevitable.
You actually just referenced it twice. It is Indiana. Dropped 2 of the 3 games to them this year, but you haven't seen them since late July. What excites you about that matchup?
That they haven't seen the real Aces yet. They caught us when we were a bit in turmoil. Not only that, they whooped us one of those stretches. So, you know what? We'll buckle in, hone in where we can, and take care of business.
Dismissed and disrespected, Indiana turned low expectations into freedom, and from the opening tip, they played like a team unchained.
But on the court, the Fever crashed the party. Kelsey Mitchell dropped a playoff career-high 34 points to spoil the night with an 89-73 win.
In the second half, I just felt like our physicality and our pursuit was not there. Like, we died on screens. You have to have second and third efforts. Even if you know you might be beat, you still have to try hard to get back into the play, and I don't think we tried hard in that category.
Indiana played fearless and fast, while Vegas, burdened by its own expectations, looked hesitant and flat. The underdog's refusal to fold turned swagger into panic, flipping the pressure onto the champs. By night's end, Indiana's upset wasn't just a win, but a seismic shift made even louder in Vegas's own arena.
You better not plank on the missile, bitch. You might get ranking. Shot back. Let it go. Right, go. With it. Fly for burn. Somebody. Die. You don't want to fight no hitter? No. I'm going to shoot you in the face.
The game flipped when Indiana's resilience forced Vegas out of its rhythm, turning their coronation into a desperate scramble of fouls, shortcuts, and frustration.
Lexi Hall was getting pushed all game. Look at that. Like, elbowed, pushed, but guess who fell? That's an illegal screen. She leans into Lexi Hall, pushes her. Look at this. Pushes Lexi Hall down. Like, I can't take this crap. I'm sick of watching it over and over. That's a moving screen. And then pushes her again. Look at that. You can't do that. They didn't call any. This is the only one they called a foul. She straight pushed Kelsey Mitchell into Asia Wilson.
Asia Wilson set the tone for Vegas's collapse with elbows, shoves, and over-the-top flops that looked more like theater than basketball. What was supposed to be star power instead came off as desperation from a player losing control.
And then this pathetic foul to start the game off with, but ball never lies. I love when karma happens. Yeah, miss your free throw. And then here we go. Check this out. Foul. Look at this. When she swings her elbows on Powers, and Powers just holding her ground, but it's a foul. Let's go through this. This is Asia Wilson. I'm so big and bad. No, you didn't get touched. It wasn't that cool. You made a layup.
Wilson's teammates followed her lead with cheap shots and bruising screens, but the chaos only fueled Indiana instead of breaking them.
But then Aaliyah Boston swings her elbows around and makes a shot, but no, she can't do it. She's a fever. An Indiana fever. She said, that's a flop. That's what Caitlin said. Here we go. Asia Wilson. Look at her trying to flop to get a call. Nobody touch you. And this is the biggest bullcrap of the game. So Kelsey Mitchell goes in for a layup. Asia Wilson shows them their lip, so they review it. You ever see an Indiana Fever player get a review when they're called for a foul and they zoom in with a microscope and call it technical? They called it technical on Kelsey Mitchell.
Indiana turned every cheap shot into fuel, with Mitchell hitting daggers, Sims pressing full court, and the front court holding strong without backing down. Meanwhile, the Aces, stacked with stars and led by an MVP, unraveled into fouls and flops that exposed desperation instead of dominance.
Asia Wilson, look at that foul they called for. Yeah, saved her. That's a bullcrap. I love Aaliyah Boston. Great job today playing defense. Look at that. Another foul. Bailed out by the refs. I get pissed off. This is the worst one. They call this a jump ball. How is that a jump ball? Nobody even had possession. Aaliyah Boston, that's anything is over the back. Not a jump ball.
Indiana turned Vegas's bullying into fuel, with Mitchell, Hull, and company owning the swagger while the Aces unraveled into shoves, flops, and desperation. What was meant to intimidate only exposed Vegas's weakness, and the short-handed Fever grew stronger with every hit.
Money Mitch, put him in a ditch! Who on the Las Vegas Aces is going to try to stop Kelsey Mitchell? Because from what I just saw, they had no answer for her. Kirsten Bell lined right up, smacked. Jackie Young stepped right up, torched. Chelsea Gray torched. Jewel Lloyd torched. Nobody could hang with Kelsey Mitchell as she goes off.
Kelsey Mitchell's 34-point clinic turned every shove and foul into fuel, carving up Vegas with fearless drives and ice-cold jumpers. While the Aces flaunted MVP trophies, none of their stars matched the composure or brilliance she delivered that night.
That time, keeping the pivot foot alive and going strong side for Wilson.
Mitchell this time finds a lane to the basket. Inside to Turner. Nice look from Mitchell. Which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple of bounces.
Odyssey Sims brought fearless play and steady leadership that made Indiana look like the veteran playoff team, while the two-time champion Aces cracked under pressure.
Good anticipation there by Brianna Turner. She's been on a couple WNBA all defensive teams, and she has really been key for them on that end of the floor in these playoffs.
Sims, yet again.
That's a tough matchup.
Which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple in the regular season in Asia. And the entire league. And Sims, they gave her just that space and she took it.
Natasha Howard and Brianna Turner turned the paint into quicksand, grinding down Wilson and Vegas's bigs with discipline that erased their usual comfort. Lexi Hull then put the clamps on Jackie Young, delivering relentless defense that left Vegas's star frustrated and finished with a game-best plus 24. Together, their toughness and grit stripped the Aces of their easy options and shifted the balance squarely to Indiana.
Tipped by Sims, so 9 seconds to shoot.
Hull's done a nice job on Jackie Young early in this game. Jackie likes to go north to south. She's made her play east to west, has not given her an angle to the bucket or to the rim.
And that was one of the things was talked about to make Jackie move laterally. She's so dangerous. You gotta hurry. Kelsey gets it inside to Young. Rebound by Howard.
Indiana didn't just survive Vegas's brawling tactics, they outclassed them. And the sharpest blow came from Aaliyah Boston smothering MVP Wilson into a 6 for 22 night. Hours after lifting the trophy, Wilson looked less like the league's best and more like a star undone by frustration.
They don't want to talk about it. Yeah, her missing layup after layup after layup. They want to talk about Caitlin Clark missing a three-pointer from half court while she got people falling into her legs. But nobody wants to talk about Asia Wilson looking like Angel Reese, missing point-blank layups all game long in a playoff game.
Boston, Turner, and Howard built a disciplined wall that left Wilson forcing bad shots, flopping, and pleading for calls. The contrast was stark. Boston's calm leadership defined the moment, while Wilson unraveled under the weight of her own hype.
Sioux Hall have that great steal to seal the win against Atlanta. Great start for Leah Boston.
Definitely the best slasher.
Boston and Wilson, two former South Carolina players. Asia can't find the bottom of the net.
5'11". Odyssey sent to Kelsey Mitchell 5'8".
Boston up under and in.
Really having her battle.
Asia.
Becky Hammond downplayed the loss as missed chances, but her refusal to admit Boston dominated Wilson only underscored how fully Indiana had exposed the champs. The irony was striking. Wilson accepted the MVP trophy that afternoon, then left her own floor that night to the sound of fever celebrations and a flipped narrative.
Listen, going into this one, the Aces had only lost twice in 50 days, Kelsey. So what did you guys make of all the chatter going into this series that they were the favorites?
You kind of just respect their game. They have the best player in the world on their team. They have unbelievable guards, so you have to respect who they are. Unbelievable PG, and so you know what they bring to the table as far as their resume and everything they've done throughout the course of the season. You have to respect that. And you just hope that, 50-50, it follow a certain way, and you like to think that, your effort and your ability to, show up and just compete can, make you have a win.
With 72% of Game 1 winners advancing, Indiana now holds the roadmap, while Vegas's aura of dominance collapsed in a single night.
We've got to keep the main thing, and that is us playing to a standard of basketball that we want to have as an Indiana Fever organization and franchise. We've got to keep our layers, the outside, the people in our building, and the people in our locker room. And the thing I'm just so proud of with this group is it doesn't matter who's on the floor, it doesn't matter who's on our roster. They give each other the freedom to be themselves. They empower one another to be themselves and to be the best version of themselves. And every time we've had a change, every time we've brought someone in, every time we've had rotational changes, they're for each other. They live the we over the me. And when you have that, it just gives you opportunities to do really special things.
Vegas enters Game 2 with all the pressure, scrambling for adjustments to contain Mitchell and free up Wilson, while Indiana plays loose and fearless. The Fever look less like underdogs clinging to survival, and more like a team convinced they can rewrite the league's script.
How you feel about the performance, the urgency, and the response you had when they made a couple runs later?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, our group has seen it all. We wanted to come in and be the aggressor right away to make sure that we were dictating on the defensive end, and we were dictating from a pace standpoint. They're champions for a reason. We knew that they were going to make runs. They made a big one in the third, and we responded with a big one. I'm proud of our team. It's one game. It's a long series, so we got to keep the main thing. But to come in here and to be able to steal this one was big for us.
On the very day Asia Wilson was crowned MVP, Indiana humbled her and stole the Aces' aura of invincibility with their first semifinal win in over a decade. Game 1 wasn't a fluke, but a blueprint. And now the question isn't if the Fever belong, it's whether Vegas can survive.
There has been rumblings that basically, Kelsey Plum wanted to get the hell away from them. Meaning Becky Hammond and AJ Wilson. And I'm here to tell you guys, it is looking like that way because none other than Kelsey Plum actually fired shots at the Las Vegas Aces.
Kelsey Plum didn't just pack her bags and leave Las Vegas. She torched the entire Aces kingdom on her way out. At her Sparks press conference and in a fresh chat with WNBA legend Sue Bird, she dropped the bombshell line, "I'm finally being treated better than I ever have in the WNBA." Let that marinate. That wasn't some polite tip of the hat to Los Angeles. It was a blade aimed right at the so-called super team she just bolted from. And if that didn't scorch enough earth, Plum doubled down in her sit-down with Sue Bird. She spelled it out crystal clear. She craved more responsibility, more trust, and Vegas wasn't giving it. Translation, A'ja Wilson hogged the spotlight. Becky Hammond co-signed it, and Plum was done playing backup vocals.
You really are about it. You really believe that you are as good as you think you are, and you really think you can impact winning at the highest level. There's only one way to find out. And kind of also too, you also have to have a coach that is no, that's exactly what I want.
And then came the quote that sent Vegas fans into a tailspin. In her own words, Plum said she needed a coach who would respond, "That's exactly what I want too." That's not just a career aspiration. That's a laser-guided jab at Becky Hammond's failure to unleash her. Think about it. One of the league's most lethal guards openly admitted she felt shackled under Hammond. And it's not just Plum. With multiple departures piling up, whispers are swirling that the shiny Aces dynasty is rotting from within. So, what's the real culprit? Becky's ego, A'ja's envy, or a front office convinced that slick branding can mask a slow-motion implosion?
Now we know throughout the offseason there has been a lot of chatter behind the scenes in regards to the Las Vegas Aces. The Las Vegas Aces team was completely derailed at the conclusion of the season, which leaving a lot of people to speculate what the hell is going on in Vegas.
Here's where it gets juicy. Plum's exit isn't just personal. It's the first real fracture in the Aces' shiny armor. And make no mistake, she knew exactly what she was doing. That perfectly delivered press conference line wasn't some offhand remark. It was months of pent-up frustration sharpened into one surgical strike. She's broadcasting loud and clear. The Aces were never what they pretended to be.
First and foremost, I 100% had concerns when I first talked to Coach and Reagan, if we're going to be completely honest. And I will say every step of the way, they have not just met but exceeded my expectations. And I've been treated better than I've ever been as a WNBA player.
That's not casual praise, that's a ruling. Standing there draped in Sparks yellow, she painted her move as liberation while every Vegas fan heard it as proof that Hammond's so-called family culture was nothing but a facade.
I just feel an overwhelming sense of love, I feel like open arms. I was actually in the airport this morning and I was just getting some water and the guy was like, "Go Sparks!" It's just, I feel that. So I'm excited about that because I really do feel like people have kind of already wrapped their arms around me. I haven't even played a game yet. Just the welcoming of my teammates and coach and Reagan and ownership, I feel very loved already.
Plum didn't stop there. She confessed she'd been itching for a shot at leadership, something the Aces never handed her. When asked point blank if she wanted to be the head of the snake, she didn't blink. She spelled it out. Los Angeles was giving her the keys Vegas never trusted her to hold.
What is it to be the leader? What is it to be the head of the snake? That kind of vibe. So it's you just wanted to know. You needed to know. Yeah, I would hate to have grandkids sitting on the couch and just being I wonder if I would have. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That sounded creepy, but
no, I totally get it. Yeah, you don't want to regret. That's basically what you're saying.
See, in Vegas, Plum was treated like an accessory, a scoring option when it suited them, a puzzle piece but never the picture. In LA, she's the engine. And that contrast wasn't accidental. She was sketching the bold line between Aja Wilson's team and her new team.
And I'm so grateful to be reunited with Dee, to play with people like Cam and Rakia, and I can continue to go on the list.
And don't forget, the whole trade saga dragged on for months. This wasn't some heat-of-the-moment rant. This was a player biting her tongue, waiting for the perfect moment to drop her truth. And when the mic was finally hers, she didn't just take a shot, she emptied the clip. Even in her sit-down with Sue Bird, Plum spelled it out. She needed a coach who believed in her, pushed her, and handed her the green light. She found that in the Sparks. She never felt it with Becky Hammon. That's not rumor mill chatter. That's straight from Plum herself.
There's only one way to find out. And kind of also too, like, you also have to have a coach that is like, no, that's exactly what I want. And I give Lynn a ton of credit. Like, she's like, you're my person. Let's do this. And I was like, wow, okay. So I'm not crazy. At least maybe we're both crazy.
And let's be real. This isn't some bench warmer begging for playing time. Last season with the Aces, Plum dropped 17.8 points, 4.2 assists, and 2.6 boards a night. She delivered, game in and game out. But Hammond's system, it wasn't built for her. It revolved around keeping Aja Wilson center stage, with everyone else stuck in orbit. LA flipped that script on day one. Now, Plum isn't just another piece behind Aja or Chelsea Gray. She's the face of the franchise. And that's more than validation, it's liberation.
I've been treated better than I ever have been as a WNBA player. Now, that is the comment there that is raising eyebrows amongst fans in regards to Kelsey Plum, stating that she's been treated better so far than she has ever been as a WNBA player.
Fans clocked the subtext instantly. Social media exploded with takes, reading her words as a thinly veiled shot at the Aces. And let's be honest, it was. To many, it confirmed what had been whispered for months. Vegas's locker room wasn't nearly as golden as their trophies suggested. Behind the champagne showers and confetti, individuality was smothered and voices were muted. Plum's comments tore that mask clean off.
So, for all Aces fans, it's over. It's over. It's over. The reign of the Aces is over. I understand the shortest dynasty in the history of the sport of basketball. You know, I've never heard of a dynasty that won 2 championships and then was done. Because you're seeing all the ring-chasing free agents getting out of Vegas.
And here's the thing. When one of your stars confesses she felt muzzled, you know she wasn't the lone voice. Because right after Plum bolted, the Aces weren't just dropping games, they were shedding players. Departures came in flurries, and in no time, the league's untouchable powerhouse looked less like a dynasty and more like an empire mid-collapse. Have you ever watched a star come to life? Not across galaxies, but right here on hardwood floors? Aja Wilson, power, grace, and unstoppable dominance wrapped into one, has become that brilliant light in women's basketball. Her rise is a story carved out of grit, discipline, and an unwavering love for the game. From modest beginnings, her path radiates inspiration. She has battled hurdles and setbacks, yet every time she soared higher, fueled by resilience and fierce determination. Born August 8, 1996 in Hopkins, South Carolina, Aja stormed onto the basketball scene. Even in her early years, she pursued greatness with unmatched drive academically and athletically. In high school, She shattered records and left a legacy that still echoes through the gym. Her relentless pursuit of excellence earned her a scholarship to the University of South Carolina, where she elevated her game further. Leading her team to a national championship, she was crowned National Player of the Year. Her college career dazzled with brilliance. This is the story of A'ja Wilson, a dreamer who reshaped the very meaning of a champion. Her impact goes beyond trophies and records. It lives in the barriers she shattered and the lives she uplifted. Her love for basketball was born in the heart of South Carolina. Raised in Hopkins, a small town rich in spirit, A'ja grew up anchored by family. With her parents, Roscoe and Eva Wilson, instilling values of work ethic and humility, she carries those lessons onto every court she steps upon. Growing up with 2 older siblings, A'ja never backed down from a challenge. Her brother Bryce and sister Alexis were her first teammates, turning their backyard into a makeshift basketball court. The Wilson home echoed with laughter, competition, and the steady rhythm of a bouncing ball. These early battles laid the groundwork for her remarkable journey. From an early age, her extraordinary gift was undeniable. Even as a child, she showed an uncanny grasp of the game, dribbling and shooting with precision that stunned those watching. Standing tall at 6'5", she quickly became a force on the court. But her dominance wasn't just about her height. It was the combination of skill, hunger, and relentless drive. Basketball wasn't just an activity for A'ja, it was her calling. At Heathwood Hall Episcopal School, her talent soared under the careful guidance of her coaches. They recognized the spark within her and worked to sharpen it, molding her into something special. She rose to the challenge, pushing herself harder with every season. She became a powerhouse, leading her team to 4 straight state championships. Each title proved her commitment and elevated her legend. Crowds packed the stands, eager to see her perform, and opponents braced for the storm she brought onto the court. With every dazzling play, her reputation grew. What made her different was not just dominance, but the artistry of her game. She read defenses with ease, made lightning-fast decisions, and played with a poise beyond her years. Her brilliance carried her onto the USA Basketball U17 World Championship team, where she transformed from local hero to global rising star. Wearing her country's colors, A'ja delivered a gold medal performance. Her contributions were pivotal, and as she stood on the podium, medal around her neck, it felt less like a finish line and more like the spark of something greater. Grew into both a player and a leader. In 2017, she led the gameless hours of practice, film study, and an iron will to improve. A'ja's name became inseparable from South Carolina basketball. Her legacy etched into the program carried a buzz that electrified the basketball world. All eyes locked on A'ja Wilson, the undeniable #1 pick. The Las Vegas Aces, a young franchise eager to build an identity, made her the cornerstone of their future. The anticipation surrounding her debut was unlike anything the team had experienced before. Analysts predicted she would become not only the face of the franchise, but also a defining force in the league. Fans flooded social media with excitement, eager to witness the beginning of what felt like a new era in women's basketball. Her leap into the professional ranks was nothing short of flawless. From the start, A'ja commanded the floor with her versatility, strength, and brilliance. Her energy was contagious, and the Las Vegas crowd embraced her as their star. Teammates marveled at how seamlessly she adapted to the pro game, both on and off the court. Her confidence radiated in every possession, setting a tone that elevated the entire roster. Coaches quickly realized she was not just a player, they had a leader in the making. Her rookie campaign was a masterpiece. A'ja had stepped onto the biggest stage, and the league would never look the same again. Her averages placed her among the best players in the league, proving she was far beyond a typical first-year athlete. Opponents struggled to find answers for her skill set, often double-teaming to slow her impact. By season's end, it was clear Aja wasn't just a rookie sensation, she was already one of the league's brightest stars.
Is there just kind of a sense maybe in the locker room that like some of the success you've had over the last week could prove to be your big breakthrough or kind of maybe a turning point for you guys for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all feeling good. I think the energy's high. Really good win in Minnesota. Had a chance to celebrate together. I think that only helps our chemistry. You know, all that stuff off the court definitely fuels us. We're having fun with each other. We're having fun together playing. So I think it is. I think this is a good moment for us. And, you know, especially we're playing without one of our best players. So to do that in those circumstances, we're really just proud of ourselves.
The Las Vegas Aces, the self-proclaimed unstoppable dynasty of the WNBA, just got served a harsh dose of reality in front of the entire basketball world. A 27-point blowout, check. Aja Wilson getting every favorable whistle under the sun and still crashing and burning, big check. Chelsea Gray, hilariously hyped by some as superior to Caitlin Clark, disappearing in crunch time, the biggest check of all. While Aja was out there dragging players down from behind and somehow dodging fouls like a magician, there was a squad in Indianapolis putting on a clinic in what true, unselfish, high IQ basketball is all about.
The Indiana Fever just beat the Aces. The first win for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces since I was 22 years old.
Because that 81-54 clinic the Indiana Fever put on wasn't just a loss for Vegas. It was a declaration. A glowing neon billboard blazing in bold Fever red screaming that no stack of referee freebies, no dramatic stat chasing from Wilson, and definitely no dynasty fairy tale was going to save them when Indiana made the decision to tighten up and play some real, cohesive, connected basketball.
And Aja Wilson. My God, you see how many free throws that lady have? Oh my God, on the stat sheet, she had basically 30 points, but all the free throws this woman got, man, they tried their best to keep the Aces in the game, man, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, man. They destroyed the Aces. About freaking time the Fever finally beats the Aces, man, and without Caitlin Clark.
Now, let's zoom in on the moment this clash really ignited. In the third quarter, Lexi Hull, who's been the embodiment of grit and steady progress all season, boxed out Wilson so flawlessly it could be featured in a coaching clinic. She claimed her space, planted her hips with precision, and pulled down that rebound like she's rehearsed it 1,000 times. Pure fundamentals. Then came Aja Wilson, swooping in from behind, literally stretching over Lexi's shoulders and arms in a desperate, obvious grab for the ball. A move so egregious, it should be immortalized in a what not to do highlight reel.
Up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks like over the back. Oh boy, jump ball is the call. Wow. Stephanie White's upset about that. I thought that was over the back. Wow. Watch this. That's a jump ball?
Ask anyone who's seen even a single AAU game, and they'll confirm that's an over-the-back foul. Indiana ball, play on, end of story. But the refs? Nope. They chose to rewrite the rulebook right there on live television. Somehow, defying all reason, they ruled it a jump ball. As if Wilson had some equal right to that rebound after barreling into Hull from behind, like it was a free-for-all.
But this was a big win for the Fever because the Aces were the only team that they had not won at least one game to last season, meaning the Aces swept the Fever last season. They actually haven't won a game against the Aces in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is crazy. They are beating the number 1 team in the league first. And then they go and beat the Aces, who they haven't won to in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark, which is just a testament to how this team is finally developing a rhythm.
Even the broadcast crew couldn't mask their disbelief. Their commentary swung between stunned silence and uneasy laughter as they tried to wrap their heads around what they were witnessing. The contact was blatant. The foul couldn't have been more clear. Yet somehow, the officials managed to neutralize it in a way that outright rewarded the very player who committed the violation.
It's a foul. It's team third.
Let's see how tremendous three and is the league at 50% shooting the three, girls are charged.
But here's where it gets downright poetic. The Indiana Fever didn't fold or sulk. They didn't let the wobbly officiating throw them off course. They brushed it aside, locked in, and went on to dismantle the Aces so thoroughly that every sketchy call became nothing more than background noise. Let's break down exactly how Indiana flipped what could have been a Vegas momentum shift into a lopsided masterclass in beautiful, connected basketball.
So I think everyone's coming in with a level of focus every day, just right now knowing that, we do have a target on our backs and making sure that we're locked in on everything we're doing in practice. But I think we're taking that energy that we have, that fun, that lightheartedness into practice because at the end of the day, this is a game. We want to have fun, and I think we play our best basketball when we're playing free and having fun and being joyful and playing together.
From the opening quarter, Indiana came out swinging. They poured in the first 6 points and never let up. By the end of the first, they were cruising with a 21-4 lead. Already you could sense the game slipping out of Vegas's grip. Indiana shot close to 53%, held the Aces to under 29%, and dominated them 16-4 in paint points. At that moment, it was obvious. This wasn't going to be the Aces' night to shine.
Indiana has not beat Las Vegas since the 2019 season. Since Howard, the Commissioner's Cup MVP, has us on the ball. Here is Boston right up the middle, untouched.
Drive, gives it to the roller, Howard, and she scores from the middle of the paint. Timeout, Becky Hammond.
Couple of Gamecocks going head-to-head. I mean, there's some physicality right there. We're really disciplined to the details, and we're playing with a high effort.
But it was in the second quarter that the Fever went straight for the jugular. They outscored Vegas 25-10. That's not a typo. 25-10. Indiana scorched the nets at an unreal 82% clip, while Vegas stumbled to a miserable 24%. The Fever went a perfect 6 for 6 in the paint. The Aces, a sad 3 of 13. By halftime, it was 46-24. And let's be real, game over. And that controversial jump ball, it came right when Vegas desperately needed a miracle to get back in it. The refs basically threw them a lifeline, gifting them a possession they didn't earn and tossing them a chance to flip the momentum.
We've been preaching this all season, being very disciplined and intentional with our actions on both ends of the floor. We're doing that. And it's a high level of activity all over the place. I'm really proud of the girls.
All smiles for the Fever through 20 minutes. It's a 22-point lead for the Fever. Indiana in front of Las Vegas, 46-24.
For the Fever, it could have been one of those unraveling moments, but they didn't flinch. Lexi Hull did everything right and still got snubbed, the kind of thing that usually tilts young teams. Not this time. Vegas got a bailout call and a sliver of hope, but Indiana slammed the door shut. By the fourth, it was a full-on demolition. The Aces scored just 7 points, 7. Final score, 81-54, and even that feels generous. A'ja Wilson's stat sheet sparkled, but the game told a different story. Despite all the whistles in her favor, Vegas got run off the court. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, and the Fever didn't just win, they sent a message. The league's balance of power is shifting, and everyone just watched it happen in real time.
It up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks like over the back. Oh boy. Jump ball is the call.
Wow. Stephanie White's upset about that. That was over the back. Wow. Watch this. That's a jump ball?
Apparently, that was ruled a jump ball, at least according to the official score sheet. You remember the play. Lexi Hull boxed out with textbook form, firmly holding her position, when Aja Wilson came crashing in over her back, swiping at the ball. Somehow, the refs called that a 50-50 ball. But you saw it. The broadcast crew was stunned. Coaches were irate. For thousands watching at home, that moment confirmed a growing suspicion. This wasn't just a bad call, it lit the fuse. It captured a deeper issue players and coaches have been quietly protesting for months. And now, thanks to this viral clip, pressure for an official investigation is building fast.
But this was a big win for the Fever because the Aces were the only team that they had not won at least one game to last season, meaning the Aces swept the Fever last season. They actually haven't won a game against the Aces in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is crazy. They are beating the number one team in the league first. And then they go and beat the Aces, who they haven't won to in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark, which is just a testament to how this team is finally developing a rhythm.
The players have had enough, and the league is finally starting to feel the heat, especially with the collective bargaining agreement looming. You can see it in their frustrated reactions on the court, hear it in the tension in their voices, and watch it in coaches practically exploding from the sidelines. This isn't about one missed call. It's a quiet uprising against a league that's allowed biased, inconsistent officiating to fester. Today, we're unpacking how this single play became the flashpoint of a rebellion, using the league's own data to expose just how deep the issue runs, and why the WNBA is now facing a crisis of credibility it can't ignore. Let's rewind and break down the moment that lit the fuse.
And Aja Wilson. My God, you see how many free throws that lady have? Oh my God, on the stat sheet she had basically 30 points, but all the free throws this woman got, man, they tried their best to keep the Aces in the game, man, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, man. They destroyed the Aces. About freaking time the Fever finally beats the Aces, man. And without Caitlin Clark.
Even the commentators, usually masters at tiptoeing around criticism, were stumbling over their words, trying to make sense of it in real time. Because at its core, the play was as basic as basketball gets. Every kid who's ever laced up knows this. You get between your opponent and the hoop, you box out. That space is yours, period. Lexi Hull did everything right. She sealed off Wilson, held her ground, and got into perfect rebounding position. Wilson, on the other hand, skipped the fundamentals, lunged over Hull's shoulders, made obvious contact, and blew up the play. That's a textbook over-the-back foul. 99 times out of 100, that's Indiana Fever ball. Easy.
Let's see all. Tremendous three and the league at 50% shoot the three, girls are charged.
Except apparently not. Instead, the refs blew the whistle and called a jump ball, a decision so backwards, so against every rule of basketball, it felt like reality glitched. This wasn't a borderline call or some murky gray area. It was a blatant foul that somehow turned into a reward for the player who committed it, handing the ball right back to Las Vegas via the possession arrow. And that was all it took. This short, undeniable, crystal-clear clip instantly became the rallying point for every fan complaint about officiating this season. No more gut feelings or scattered theories. This was proof, and worse, It was just the most glaring example of a pattern fans had already been watching unfold.
This defense is playing phenomenal. Oh my God, it's night and day. I think that Commissioner's Cup gave them swag. Now they're swagging it out. I never seen Natasha Howard so aggressive in my life. This girl is beasting now all of a sudden. She is beast moding right now. And Timpson, the rookie, getting block shots, getting steals. Leah Boston is just murking, destroying Aja Wilson. Man, I got a Wilson. I got a nickname for Aja Wilson, guys. You know what it is? Whistle Wilson. Because this lady's always getting whistles. She's the person with the special whistle, guys. Every freaking time. And then she goes to the free throw line. Freaking free throw merchant. I think she's related to SGA. But anyway, she's not playing that great.
Because when you zoom out from that one play, it fits into a much larger, more troubling pattern. Fans even have a name for it, Whistle Wilson. And it's not just a Twitter punchline, it's practically a grassroots analytics movement now. The most dedicated WNBA watchers have been tracking Aja Wilson's every minute, logging every soft call and every no call she gets away with. And this game put it all in the spotlight. The numbers are jaw-dropping. Wilson went to the free throw line 13 times. The entire Indiana Fever roster, 12 players, 4 quarters, got there only 17 times. One player nearly matched an entire team's total on her own. Let that sink in.
The Aces tried to put a little run together to start the third quarter, and Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull shut that down. They shut it down by hitting some big shots. All right, that steal led to the only 2 points that Sophie Cunningham had, but it was big. So right here, let's start Aaliyah Boston right here. That's Sydney Colson to Boston. She gonna drive into the lane,
Wilson.
and I've got to tell you, she gave Aja Wilson all she could handle.
And this wasn't just online noise. It was unfolding in real time on the broadcast. The commentators couldn't ignore it. Even as they tried to stay composed, they admitted it outright. The whistles were clearly favoring one side. One analyst put it bluntly, they're trying to keep Vegas in it. Another added more carefully, but didn't deny it. Even the seasoned pros, usually careful with their words, had to call out the obvious. Superstars like Wilson are playing with a completely different rulebook.
Aja Wilson, she got a favorable whistle in the second half, but it is what it is. Superstars get the whistle. Unless your name is, 29 points for Aja Wilson, 3 boards, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 9 for 18 from the field goal, from the field, 11 for 13 from the free throw line. Look at the rest of her team. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 6 points, 0 points, 4 points, 2 points, 3 points. Dana Evans, 1 for 10, Dana Evans. Oh my goodness.
Superstars get the whistle. The commentators said it like it's just a fact of the game. But that kind of acceptance is exactly what's eroding trust. Because when fans start to believe the WNBA's biggest names are shielded by invisible layers of special treatment, it chips away at the core belief that games are decided by skill and grit, not by who the refs choose to favor. That jump ball debacle wasn't just a missed call. It was a chilling confirmation of every fan's worst fear, that outcomes might be shaped by biased officiating, not by what actually unfolds on the court. So what do you think? Is the special whistle real? Drop your take below. I want to see where everyone stands.